Hello, everybody. I think we're live. I'm Brandon Thurston, broadcasting live from Buffalo, New York. My heart is racing from the ratings that I've been reporting. As we're going to talk about AEW Rampage and WWE Smackdown. Maybe less interest in Smackdown this week, even though Smackdown was the more highly viewed program from 8 to 10 compared to Rampage at 10 o'clock. But Rampage doing over 1.1 million viewers total. Smackdown doing 2.1 million viewers. What is that? How does that compare to what Smackdown has done recently? Is it true that people were tuning into Smackdown because they were thinking about Rampage? Not that much of a difference from last week. I don't recall off the top of my head what the competition was or anything like that. By the way, we're still waiting on Showbuzz Daily to get the numbers out there for the rest of the TV telecasts that happened on Friday night. So we get an idea of where Rampage ranked. I would have to think in 1849 it would rank number one, but we'll see. SmackDown did 2.1, did just under 2.1 the week before, did just over 2.1 the week before that. So I'm not sure that many people, I'm sure some did, but I'm not sure that many people tuned in to SmackDown because they were awaiting Rampage, or maybe the number would have just been that much lower. We're live, pal. Everybody can hear me, right? I'll take some questions as well. I can actually open the thing for myself, right? Thanks, everybody, for bearing with me. I know I scheduled this originally at 5 o'clock. That was a very ambitious... Yeah, we are live. That was a very ambitious time, but here we are. AEW Dynamite greatly exceeding my expectations. I was apparently too pessimistic, expecting something in the neighborhood of 850,000 viewers total. About half of that in the demo, so that would be 425,000. They did that, more than that, just in male viewers, 18 to 49. But nearly 700,000 in 18 to 49. That's up from about 400,000 the week before. So not quite doubling last week's total in the key demo, but up by, we have an analysis tab that we can look at here to tell us exactly how much that was up. That was up 75% in 18 to 49, up 53% total for Rampage. We have quarter hours here, too, that we're going to discuss as I randomly interject facts that pop into my brain. So, I'm used to saying Dynamite. Rampage, just short of what SmackDown did in the demo. 738,000 viewers in the demo for SmackDown on Fox. Keep in mind, it's a better time slot, and that's a better network in terms of coverage from 8 to 10 on Fox versus at 10 o'clock on TNT. Rampage beat SmackDown. I'm seeing this for the first time, realizing this for the first time. SmackDown did not exceed Rampage. Rampage beat SmackDown with viewers, male viewers, 18 to 49, 464,000 to 421,000. Going line by line here with the demos, I guess. Female viewers, though, SmackDown won, 18 to 49. All viewers, 18 to 34. Rampage wins, 231,000 viewers to 218,000 viewers. Male viewers, 18 to 34. Rampage wins, 148 to 137. Female viewers, 18 to 34. Rampage just edges out SmackDown. 83,000 for Rampage to 81,000 for SmackDown. I did not realize this until right now. I will update the Patreon post later with some of these facts. I was waiting until the Showbuzz tables came out to include the rank information, but I will update my Patreon post later for the ratings for all of our wonderful subscribers. People 35 to 49, though, that is where SmackDown beats Rampage. 521,000 for SmackDown, 461,000 for Rampage. Male viewers 35 to 49 though. Rampage wins 316,000 viewers to 284,000 viewers. Slow it down, kid. Female viewers 237,000 for Smackdown, only 141 for Rampage. And then in the outside the demo category, 1.3, nearly 1.4 million viewers outside of the demo for Smackdown, only 437,000. So there's a huge difference here in terms of the age of the viewers here, right? In fact, I don't know if this tab is ready here. If we look, oh, it is ready. Do I have, though? It doesn't look like the other data point is here. But anyway, we can look at it on the big sheet. If we go over here and we scroll all the way over, oh, I don't have that information entered. All right, that's why that's not appearing there. I'll put that in later. But if I think the median age was something like 45. It's in the Patreon post for Rampage, and something like in the low 50s for SmackDown. So there's those things. Let's see if there's anything interesting to grab here. This table is not really relevant today because we're not talking about Dynamite. How does Rampage compare to Raw? Let's see. The most recent episode of Raw, last week, Monday. Raw beat Rampage in the demo. It beat Rampage with male viewers 18 to 49. It beat Rampage female viewers 18 to 49. Rampage just edges out Raw with all viewers 18 to 34. Rampage beats the most recent episode of Raw with male viewers 18 to 34. Rampage doesn't beat. Raw beats Rampage with female viewers 18 to 43. I'm sorry, 18 to 34. Let's see here. We could probably make this a little bit bigger. Go on to this blank slide. It just happens to be here. If we zoom in. Actually, I'm not sure how this is going to work. All right, never mind. Let's just fit. All viewers 35 to 49. Raw beat Rampage. Male viewers 35 to 49. Rampage just barely edged out Raw, 316,000 to 312,000. And female viewers, Raw was ahead, 173 to 145. And of course, outside the demo, way above. Whenever Showbuzz posts its info, we'll get these other 4 demos here, which will include P50 Plus, my favorite demo, which I'm sure WWE will be well ahead of Rampage in. There's those things, as I often say. Let's see here. This is not that relevant today, but we could talk about the quarter hours, and then we can take your questions if you have any. Here's the quarter hour chart. AEW opened. I don't have any quarter hours for SmackDown. AEW opened Rampage at 10 o'clock to 10:15 with the return of CM Punk on a major pro wrestling show for the first time since 2014 with 1.3 million viewers. And in the key demo, 842,000 viewers. The only quarters in Dynamite history that are greater than these two values here in total viewership and in 1849. If I open this hodgepodge Excel spreadsheet that I've got here, where I had to quickly sort it out, the only quarters that are greater, that are in the, let's see, if I can pull this up side by side, right? 1.341. This is sorted here. Let's make this bigger so you can see it. I'll make this way smaller. The only quarters that reach 1.3 million viewers are in the debut episode of Dynamite or on this April 14th episode of Dynamite, which is the first episode of Dynamite after NXT moves to Tuesday, and this is a quarter 5. That includes the Chris Jericho and Dax Harwood match. That includes Mike Tyson at ringside. So this is the Mike Tyson quarter. That's it. Everything else is just under 1.3 million or below. But what about 18 to 49? If we sort from largest to smallest in 18 to 49, again, we have nothing but the debut episode. And 842,000 is even greater than some of these episodes, or than some of these quarters on the debut episode. There's nothing besides the debut episode of Dynamite in Dynamite's programming history that is more highly viewed in 1849 other than quarters, most of the quarters of the debut episode. People had been asking me on the live streams that I did leading up to Rampage whether I thought Punk should go on first. I said he should go on last. They decided to put him on first. I can understand why. You might have had people just chanting CM Punk throughout the earlier part of the show, which might have been distracting and taken away from the other segments. But they put him on first, and viewership diminished afterward, which is to be expected. But viewership did grow slightly for the final quarter for the Jon Moxley and Daniel Garcia match. So there's those things. This CM Punk quarter, by the way, was not just the first quarter, but it did spill into the first 3 minutes or so of the second quarter as well. That's where he starts to address Darby Allin and Sting in the rafters. So there's those things. We could look at, too, how much did viewership actually decline through those quarters. It went down 15% in Q2. In total viewership, down 70% in Q2 in the key demo. And then went down 11 and 13 in the next quarter, and then went up 3% and 1% in the final quarter, and actually went up 7% outside of the key demo. So there's those things. There's somehow 12 minutes I've been talking. Rampage actually beat Smackdown in some younger demos. That is news to me. So if anyone has questions, I will scroll through the chat for a few questions. And we've actually got 74 people, concurrent viewers, watching here. How does the peak Rampage quarter do against the peak of Raw? I am not sure. I have quarters. I saw quarters and reported quarters for the Raw, the first Raw. Or no, was it for the first SmackDown? No, it was for the first Raw back on the road, which also opened with John Cena. That is the most recent. These are 47 or 74 digital eyeballs. You can't count these as linear. No one's paying a carriage fee here. So if I will try to look this up on the Patreon app here, which I'm sure will respond more quickly for me than my computer right now. But I would imagine Raw does above this in younger demos. The Raw quarters that I have also are only 18 to 49 and P2 plus. So if I scroll all the way back to like July 19th, I think it was. And if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'll scroll through that and look for question marks. Let's see here. Quarter hours for WWE Raw, where Raw opened on July 19th. It would be nice if I opened this up on the other thing, because this looks like an Excel spreadsheet. But anyway, Raw opened up on July 19th with John Cena for a quarter with over 2 million viewers total, 786,000 in the key demo for their return to touring for Raw. Never got that high. That is a good question. How about that? 786, was that the peak? That was not quite the peak. The peak for 18 to 49 was actually 10 to 10-15, which included Bobby Lashley and Keith Lee. 788,000, still below CM Punk's. Where is he here? Still below CM Punk's. Let's highlight it on the screen for people. 842,000. We can probably just show the chart. So that is an insight. I did not think of that. So thank you for asking that question. How did the commercial affect the first quarter, you think? Probably negatively. Commercials, when Chris Harrington from AEW has shared his screen and showed, we did a YouTube stream once, which you can find on this very YouTube channel. We looked at the minute-by-minute data for at least one episode. It might have been more than one episode of AEW Dynamite from back in December 2020, where he showed, you can really see the trends are very much negative when the commercials are on the screen, and then they grow back up. Viewership grows again once the commercial is ending. Hard to gauge how much the commercial would have had an effect, though. But I think the primary factor in the viewership declining from first quarter to second quarter is the fact that there was a ton of interest in seeing CM Punk, and then people tuned out somewhat after that. Just making sure I'm not skipping anybody's question here. As of today, coming off the impressive Rampage number, what would your way too early, low-end and high-end projections for the September 5th AEW pay-per-view in terms of buys? So if we look at, I can probably pull this up on the Wrestlenomics website. We can go to the AEW pay-per-view buys page. If I go to resources, this is great product placement, isn't it? If I go here, we'll make this real big so everybody can see it. Here's AEW's pay-per-view buys up to this point in time. These are my beliefs / reports / estimates. So the record is 135,000 buys. I think All Out is going to break that record by a decent margin. How much? You're asking me to think of things that I haven't tried to put numbers to just yet. If we use the delta that a lot of the special episodes of Raw or Smackdown, and I've used this theory to predict the first two ratings for Rampage, and I've been too low on both of them. So let's pull out the calculator here. If we assume it's a 20% increase over Revolution, let's say 20% increase, that'd be 162. My gut feels like that's too low. What else is on the card will be a factor, of course. But maybe higher than that. Let's say, to take a guess, but you want a low end and high end, though. Let's say a median of 175, and let's give it a, I don't know, let's say 160 on the low end. Sort of, I don't know. Let's go 185 on the high end, maybe 200. I could even see it being 200. All of my predictions so far have been too low, though, so I'm really disoriented on how to predict what these effects are going to be like for AEW. Let's go 175,000 would be my guess. As I look for other questions here. Do you think the upcoming Dynamite number beats Rampage? Another difficult question. In 18 to 49, given that we can look back in history here, AEW's relatively brief history, and see that in 1849, there's and what did Dynamite do overall? 692,000. What did Dynamite do last week? 454,000. I mean, I would guess it's going to do something like a 20% increase over that. So if we multiply that, and we'll do total viewership too here. If we do 4 times 1 times 1.2, 544, it would have to be, to beat that number, it would have to be how much of a percentage? Over 50% higher than last week. Although it did just do nearly 600 the week before that. What did it do the week before that? It grew on consecutive weeks. I would guess that it'll do just under, on average, what Rampage did in this quarter. I think another interesting question to think about, though, is, and maybe somebody is going to ask this or has already asked it as I scroll through the chat here, is this a week where Dynamite beats Raw in 18 to 49? Maybe. It might be. If we look at, has that ever happened? I have a tab for that. If we look in this tab in the spreadsheet, which you can get access to through Patreon, patreon.com/Wrestlenomics for just $5 a month, along with my every weekday reports on TV ratings. Let's see. If we scroll all the way over, we want to talk about Raw, right? If we look at Raw, has AEW Dynamite ever beaten Raw in the key demo? And if you can't see it, it's this column right here. Total viewership is right next to it. And if we scroll, it is never beaten in the same week. There might have been some other sort of adjacent week, but in the same week, Dynamite has never beaten Raw in the key demo. Is this the week that Dynamite beats Raw in the key demo? It would have to. I mean, here's an idea of what Raw has been doing lately: 713, 629, 657, 635. Considering what Rampage did this past week, again, that's higher, and it's in a worse time slot. So there's that negative, possibly negative effect as well. Maybe just the peak in interest, so overwhelmed that. But yeah, we've got. I think by September 22nd, though, which is where I continue to speculate. I have no information about this, but I continue to speculate that Bryan Danielson will debut in. That would be my guess. Will debut in AEW at the Arthur Ashe show in New York City on September 22nd, a night where Raw will be going head to head. That's not a night. That's on a week when, on Monday, Raw will be going head to head with Monday Night Football. That will take some sort of a bite out of Raw's viewership compared to what it's doing in August. So there's that. I don't know if that answered the question. I'm so scatterbrained right now. My brain's all over the place. I don't remember what the question was. Do you think the upcoming Dynamite number beats Rampage? Let's say just barely. Let's say 700,000. Just barely. As I scroll for other questions, how much viewership bump do you expect for Raw tonight coming off of SummerSlam? I would say a decent one. If we look at past instances of post-SummerSlam Raws, which there's a tab for called PPV bump. If we look at SummerSlam in the history, it was up 22% versus the median of the last four. And total viewership last year, up 21%. Did I say 22? Anyway, it's up 21%. This was also a SummerSlam where Roman Reigns returned, even though he didn't return to Raw. He returned to Smackdown, but take that for what it's worth. Year before that, it was up 11% compared to the trailing 4 weeks viewership. And before that, 10. Years prior, it didn't have much of an effect. 2015 had zero. It made zero difference compared to what was the 4 weeks prior. But then again, that might have something to do with competition. I'm not sure what was on. I don't recall what was on TV that night in August 2015. But I would think it's going to give them something like a 10 to 20% bump when you've got, now granted, the big returns that people would be interested in seeing are Brock Lesnar and Becky Lynch, who returned on SummerSlam. They're probably going to be on SmackDown, though, unless they're being advertised for Raw. I haven't heard that they are, which is what they did with Cena. But yeah, I would think they're not going to be on Raw. Putting WWE more top of mind because of the interest from SummerSlam and from their returns, though, I think leads to a 10 to 20% increase over the median of the last 4 weeks. Looking for other questions now. What was Rampage's ranking for the time slot? I'm guessing number 1. I'm guessing number 1 too. But as I refresh Showbiz Daily on a different window here, on a different screen, Showbiz Daily has not updated yet. Showbiz Daily has been back to life for about 1 week now. And usually it updates pretty soon after the Nielsen ratings come out at about 4 p.m. Eastern, but it is not updated yet. So we don't know. That information, though, might come out whether or not Showbuzz reports, but we'll see. Let's see here. So I look for other questions. Is it even fair to compare when Raw will be up against the NFL and AEW? I mean, you can compare anything you want. Certainly, that is of quantitative value. Is it fair? I don't know. I don't know what defines fair in this case. Raw is at a disadvantage when it goes against Monday Night Football, for sure. But the numbers, nonetheless, are what they are. And they represent, I mean, it's a Nielsen sample, but they represent what people are actually watching, which I think means something as far as if AEW has a more similar number of people watching its show compared to WWE, there's some downstream effects in that, and there's some meaning in that in terms of, well, this was the audience that we were able to capture, and this is the audience that we were able to market to. For all of your other products and for all of your future TV shows. No Goldberg, presumably no Cena, might hurt it. I'm not sure. Are we talking about Raw? Presumably no Goldberg, but I'm not sure. There could be Goldberg. It's not as if they blew him off and had Lashley beat him. They did and I strongly believe that Goldberg is going to appear on the October Saudi Arabia, large-scale international event in October to get another big payday. It did update. Someone in the chat says I think meaning Showbuzz Daily did update, and they are number 2. NFL preseason number 1. There it is. There's Showbuzz. We'll put it on the screen for everyone. Let's see here. Showbuzz. Yeah. AEW Rampage ranking number 2. In the demo, we'll make that bigger. Let's see here. 0.53 for AEW. And SmackDown 0.57. Preseason football 0.55. So SmackDown winning the demo on television overall. Total viewership 2.1 million for the NFL. 2.1 million for SmackDown. So there's those things. Yeah. But AEW Rampage being on a bunch of Fox News shows. Love After Lockup. One of my favorite shows. Yeah. So there we go. There's the Showbuzz numbers. So I guess we could do this live on the air. I could update the spreadsheet right now. I'm just going to put this in a different window while I transcribe these numbers over for Rampage. We'll see what the differences were from week to week for Rampage in these extra demos that Showbuzz Daily blesses us with. So we have in F 12 to 34, 0.18, 0.35 in M 12 to 34. 25 to 54, we have 0.59, and P2 Plus, 0.34. How does that compare? Let's do it over here, because this should update in my PowerPoint slides. If we look right here, and if I refresh this, it's just going to give me the listing. Let's go back to the spreadsheet then. It's working on it. It will appear right here in a few seconds. It's a big spreadsheet that has to do a lot of work. So that young female demographic was up 20%. Hopefully this is big enough. It's still thinking about the other numbers. I think they are loading. Yeah, the meter's still going. Let's see here. People are yelling that Showbuzz has updated, Brandon. Thank you. NFL did 0.55. Alrighty. So there we go. There's the deltas for the other demos here for Rampage. This is just week to week. I know this says versus the median of the last 4 weeks, but because there's only one previous week for Rampage, we're only comparing it against 1 week. The median of one value is that value. Up 20% in the young female demographic. This is not conditionally formatting, which is infuriating. But anyway, I'll fix that later. Up 67% in the young male demographic. Up 69% in 25 to 54. And up 42% in P50 plus, which converts to... I think I have something that converts that, right? Yeah, which converts to 390,000 viewers aged 50 or older. There's that. And I'll do median age here too in a moment here, and then we might take 1 or 2 more questions, and how long have I been going for here? 30 minutes, and then I'll sign off. I have been doing some math too lately to try to, based on the total viewership in the 18 to 49 and the P50 plus, you can get an idea within a range of what the 2 to 17 would be. The 2 to 17 Rampage, let's see here. Rampage would have beaten NXT, but not Raw or Dynamite. So there's that. So let's look at, I will update the median age here, but I'll look at what the median age was on my phone. Let's see here. So I'm going to go over here. And for Smackdown, on this past Friday night, the median age was 54.8 and 43.3 for Rampage. So that should update my median age chart, which has numbers in different colors to represent different TV shows. And there we go, 43, going all the way back to early May here. 43 is the youngest median age on the timeline here, compared to SmackDown's 55 on the night. So you can see, the big takeaway if you're looking at this kind of data for the first time is that Dynamite noticeably younger than any of the 3 WWE programs. The impact is kind of all over the place, probably because there's a smaller sample that makes the result a lot more volatile. So sometimes, on rare occasion, it's really young. Most of the time, though, it's pretty comparable to WWE, being with a median age in the early 50s. NXT seems to be the oldest, pushing into the late 50s. But Rampage definitely on these occasions younger, even than any of the others. I'm sure it's because younger viewers have more of an urgency to watch it live, whereas these are the people who are more likely to consume media in digital ways. So I'll look for a couple more questions. Let's see here. There was one. They're both moving to TBS, I believe, in January. Isn't that correct? That is correct. Both Rampage and Dynamite moved to TBS. They stay in the same time slots that they're currently in, but they moved to TBS January 2022, next year. There will be 4 quarterly AEW specials that will be on TNT, and that will be the only thing on TNT. So I think that's it for now. I will probably do another stream Thursday afternoon after the Dynamite rating comes out, and we will talk about all this stuff again. You can subscribe to Wrestlenomics on Patreon and get as I said earlier, every weekday, just about every weekday, Monday through Friday, there is a ratings report out on the Patreon that breaks it down across all these demos that we discussed just now. You get access to this very spreadsheet that I have been scrolling through here with all this data. There's something like over 15,000 data points in here, and you get whatever else I happen to put out on the Patreon. You can please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm really starting to do stuff with YouTube for the first time, so we would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button, subscribe, and all that stuff that YouTubers usually say. So thanks so much for tuning in. I've been doing a few of these, and this is by far the biggest concurrent number of viewers that we've gotten here. So thanks for checking it out live, and thanks for your questions. We will talk to you again on Thursday, and if not then, we'll talk to you on Sunday for our podcast that is in your podcast app every late Sunday or early Monday, Wrestlenomics Radio. Thanks for listening and watching.